What's up, everybody? Joe White here. Today we are going to talk a little bit about Saturday night's main event happened last night, and I thought it was a decent show. Four matches, no BS angles went down. Um, Nobody went through freaking flaming tables and barbed wire, and no fish tanks were involved. Four straight good wrestling matches, four matches that told stories, and it was a good show. We had the announcement of John Cena. He's putting together the last time is now tournament and 16 guys. I would assume 5 from SmackDown, 5 from Raw, 5 from NXT, and then one wild card that they said that maybe even some guys who don't even work here. So we'll get to that in a minute as to who I hope it is. But anyway, I thought it was a decent show. But Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, they, of course, see it as it's just a show. You can tell it by the tone of their voices. Listen how they talk about NXT or excuse me, AEW, and then go from that to WWE. Like they talk about AEW like, oh yeah, they whipped them into the corner and hit their super kick, and oh man, this match was great. And then they go to talking about WWE, and it was a match. It's there. They did this, and then it was typical formula WWE. So let's listen to what Dave thought about the CM Punk versus Jey Uso match, which I thought was good. Slow build, picked up right there at the end. But this is what Dave Meltzer had to say about it.
It was a total WWE, pay-per-view main event. You do my big move, you kick out of my big move, back and forth. And then after a couple of times, one guy wins,
So, yeah, it's just a typical WWE. One guy does his big move, the other guy does the other guy's big move, and then we kick out, and blah, blah, blah. You mean like a wrestling match is supposed to go? Just because just because one guy didn't throw 50 fucking super kicks and try to drown somebody, and the other guy didn't throw 50 fucking super kicks and set somebody on fire and do all the flippity floppity floppity flu, doesn't mean that it was a formulaic match. They were good matches. All these matches were good. They served their purpose. They told their stories. Even the Jade Cargill match with Tiffany. Tiffany's got a knee injury. She needs to go away and get it looked at. She had to drop the title. Jade squashed her like she said she was going to do. This is the Jade Cargill we should have been getting all along, in my opinion. But WWE has done a good job over the last year or so or two building her. She should be the female Goldberg. She's not going to go out there and do the catch as catch can, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero style shit. I'm sorry. She's not that good. She doesn't have to be that good. Not everybody has to be a great technical daggone Superman in that damn ring. I'm sorry. Not everybody has to throw 50 fucking super kicks. Not everybody has to be fucking Tanahashi. You need a little of that variety. We needed Goldberg back in the 90s. I mean, I'm sorry, we did. To break up the monotony a little bit. But no, Dave, it's just monotony. It's just a typical WWE. It's typical WWE. Brian is typical WWE. So. So then we go to Dave talking about the Cody Rhodes match, and he actually liked this match. But then we go on to the build about Cody and what they're going to do with him next. Let's listen to what Dave has to say about the Cody match, or the what's next for Cody. And also, he even slipped something in there about the Survivor Series team Because it's clear to me that Cody Rhodes is going to move on to be in the War Games match. But let's listen to what Dave has to say about it.
We still don't have anyone else on the SmackDown side. I mean, I guess you got Lesnar, but that they've really built up for Cody. That's why they went back to Drew after beating Drew. So I don't know what they're going to do. I suppose they could put Lesnar in there for Survivor Series. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen for the men's team in Survivor Series at this point.
So yeah, they don't have anybody up there for Cody except Lesnar. They could put Lesnar in there because we're so down on Lesnar. He shouldn't be here, and we all know why. And wasn't this the guy? I think they have a lot of people that they could set up for Cody besides Drew. The only reason why they went back to Drew McIntyre is because they were going to set up Jacob Fatu, but he ended up having to go get the dental surgery done. And as far as the Survivor Series, let me back up. As far as Cody's next opponent for the world title, I don't think he has to defend it until the Royal Rumble. And honestly, with the way they've been going with this story, Cody's been doing some pretty heelish stuff lately. Cody's been showing that darker side. Cody has been dipping to the dark side a little bit, and could we see a full-blown heel turn? Probably not. Because, Cody, he doesn't want to be a heel. He wants to be that baby face. He wants to be the next John Cena that never turns heel. I would love to see a Cody Rhodes heel turn one day. They don't need to make that same mistake with John Cena. I'm sorry. Never turning John Cena heel up until this year was a huge mistake. They should have turned that man heel probably about 5-10 years ago. But they didn't. They didn't want to pull the trigger for some stupid reason. And I'm sorry, merch sales is no reason to stop. No. Merch sales should never be an excuse. Because the NWO were heels, they were cool heels, and they sold a ton of merch. And you can't give me that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. There have been plenty of heels throughout time that have sold merchandise. So, you can't give me that crap. Anyway, regarding Dave Meltzer talking about the whole Survivor Series thing. Oh, we don't know the teams yet. We don't know the teams for it. Wasn't this a guy who just, thank you, golly, people, if you see me signaling to get over, please get over. 3-lane highway. I'm trying to get in the middle lane to pass somebody, and you got a car that won't get over into the far left where they could be, where I'm not allowed to go. Anyway, life of a trucker. So the Survivor Series thing, sorry guys. Wasn't this a guy who not maybe 2-3 weeks ago was printing in the newsletter and talking on the radio, his Wrestling Observer radio show, which it's not radio anymore. I'm sorry. I was a big champion of internet radio back in the day, and Dave wants to talk about the goofy podcasters, the podcasters. You're a fucking podcast, Dave. You're not on radio. Are they even on the Sports Byline radio network? Is that even a thing anymore? Anyway, you're not on Sirius XM. So, which I'm wondering. I'm wondering if since Sirius started this wrestling channel where Busted Open and a whole bunch of other shows have gone, I'm wondering if they even offered Dave a spot and maybe Dave turned him down because of money. But anyway, the Survivor Series thing. I get so sidetracked. But this is a guy who 3 weeks ago in his newsletter, on his radio show or podcast, was talking about, the Survivor Series teams are already set. They're this, and Austin Theory's going to show back up and be a part of the heel team. Here, and then all of a sudden, somebody gets injured and plans change. That's Dave's excuses for everything. Plans change. Austin Theory still hasn't shown his face again. I know he's been injured, but Dave, and he's so down on it. Like, nobody wants to see Austin Theory doing anything. He's not over, which he's not. Let's get that straight. He's not. But still, here's a guy who was so sure of himself, and then, plans change. Injuries happen. Plans change. So now he went from Austin Theory is going to be on the heel team. Why do we need Austin Theory? Who pulled that out of their ass? To I don't know. I don't know. Who's gonna Brian? I don't know. I mean, come on, come on. You should have said you don't know from the beginning, and you wouldn't have this giant ostrich egg all over your face. You would not have the egg all over your face, Dave. But guess what? You do, because we remember shit that you say. You may not remember it because you're so goddamn old. You got that Alzheimer's kicking in. Got that damn memory loss kicking in. Well, we remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers what Dave Meltzer said. Anyway, let's move on. Here's Dave now talking about the big tournament. The last time is now John Cena tournament to find out who is going to face John Cena in his last match. And I like this idea. I got to be honest, I like this idea. I think that it gives a little bit of intrigue to it. It's better than them just coming out and going, yep, here's his opponent. Yep, here he is. Now let's get 3 weeks out of a build of the same guy coming out, when John Cena's not there. Let's get 3 weeks worth of this of opponent X coming out for 3 weeks straight going, I'm going to beat John Cena. I'm going to beat John Cena. I'm going to blah, 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 blah. No, this gives a little bit of intrigue to it. It gives these guys who are in this tournament, they all want to face Cena for their last match. They all want the glory of beating John Cena in his last match and sending him off into the sunset. But they got to fight for it. They got to earn it. And John Cena going, I want this to be for this person what it was to me 20-something years ago when I walked out on SmackDown and showed Kurt Angle that ruthless aggression. As well it should be. It should not be Brock Lesnar. The only person at this point, and as Dave, I'll come back and give my thoughts, but here's Dave Meltzer's thoughts on the big tournament to see who is going to face John Cena in his last match.
And they announced the tournament, so it's a 16-man tournament with the winner facing Cena on December 13th, and I believe the tournament starts a week from Monday.
The tournament begins a week from Monday. Yeah. And there's 16 wrestlers, and they made it very clear there's going to be wrestlers from WWE and maybe even some people who don't work here.
Yeah.
So that's, of course, to get everybody talking about.
They want to get people to tease the idea that it'll be Adam Copeland, which it will not be.
Or Jericho.
Which it will not be there either,
yes.
Because his contract's not due then.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's going to end up being, Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
Or somebody like that.
Oh, yeah, there it is. They're just doing this to trick you. They're just doing it to build interest. Well, isn't that their fucking job, Dave? Isn't that Triple H's job as a booker to make you think a little bit? Make you wonder? Make you guess? Isn't that any good, script writer's job to make you sit there and, wonder who it's going to be? I'm curious to see who's even going to be in the tournament from the WWE side. They kind of teased Gunther and a few others. There's been a rumor for a few weeks now that it is going to be Gunther that is going to face Cena in his last match. I think that's the perfect way to bring Gunther back after this absence. For him to be the one to beat John Cena and send John Cena off in the sunset. And so what if it is Matt Cardona? That's not my ideal person. But that's a good way to get Matt Cardona back in the mix. And as far as they're holding off on this, see, they want to make you think it's Edge. They want to make you think it's daggone Chris Jericho. Dave, Dave, we know it's not going to be one of those two. Would I like it to be? Yeah, that's the only guy that, as far as a former opponent of John Cena, a former wrestler, or somebody from that era coming back. That's the only person that should beat John Cena if you're not going to have it be somebody new and put somebody new over and elevate somebody, which is what this should be. Again, I'm always an advocate for when you can find a way, when you have a way to build somebody up, when you have a way to make a new star, that's what it should be. There's even rumors of him facing Dominic Mysterio at Survivor Series. Hell, maybe Dominic should win the tournament. Maybe it should be Dominic to pin John Cena. That would send Dominic over the top. Dominic's right at the lip. And push him over the edge. Push him over that lip. And up into the stratosphere. Why not? But Edge is the only guy that, as far as from the past, that I would love to see come back. Is it likely to happen? No. But stranger things have happened. If you can remember, when Ric Flair went into the WWE Hall of Fame, back, I want to say it was WrestleMania 24. No, not 24. Sorry. It was the year, I think, that he went in with the Horsemen. The year they made the trade with TNA. Somebody read down in the comments, refresh my memory. They traded TNA. They got Ric Flair. WWE traded TNA, said, okay, we'll give you Ric Flair. And TNA wanted Christian Cage for a one-night only deal. And they made a trade. What's wrong with sending somebody down to AEW for one night only and then sending Edge to WWE for one night only? You pay them what they would get in either promotion, blah, blah, blah. They agree on a dollar amount for the two. You do the business, a little piece of business, as Jim Ross would say, you do a little piece of business. And then, we go back to, I hate you and you hate me. What's wrong with that? But no, Dave constantly, so Brian, we're in a wrestling war, Brian. Things like that can't happen in a wrestling war. The Romeo and Juliet can't never get married. Because the Montagues and the whoever's the Hatfields and McCoys hate each other. It can never happen. What the fuck? What the fuck? Anyway. Moving on here. So now we have Brian Alvarez. I'm going to pick on Brian a little bit. Here he is talking about the CM Punk Jey Uso match and the start of the match. And we'll come back and I'll give my thoughts on this. This is a crazy one here.
So then the main event, CM Punk, Jey Uso for the vacant title. And really the first half of this match was like a very slow WWE heavyweight title match. Just going back and forth, and Punk kind of got some heat on him for a while, and just very, very slow going. And then finally...
It amazes me how, this was a slow build, and then it picked up at the end. I don't hear, isn't almost every freaking New Japan match like that? Especially the main events? Omega and Okada would start off kind of slow, getting the feel for each other. Then it'd pick up at the end and they'd go 100 miles a freaking hour, spot. Same thing for any, Tanahashi match. Starts off slow and then spot. Naito was the same way. Slow, feeling each other out process, then spot. Toward the end, we're going 100 miles an hour, and by the end of it, they're throwing the babies in the air, as Jim Cornette would say. Not everything has, why can't you say that this was, he did say it was a good match at the end, but why can't you give it the benefit of the doubt and treat it like, why can't they treat WWE like they do anybody else? I don't get it. Why does WWE get double standard and get treated so negatively? I'm not trying to be a WWE shill here, but golly, what's good for the goose is not always good for the gander with these people. They think everything should be like AEW. They truly believe that what AEW and New Japan and CMLL, because you notice he does that in Mexico too. He started doing that with Mexico. CMLL is now the golden standard, Brian, because they work with AEW. They work with AEW, so therefore they're the best. And AAA has gotten bought out by WWE, so now they're the redheaded stepchild, in my opinion. And they get held to a double standard. I won't even say higher standard. But you just can't, give somebody the benefit of the doubt. You can't sit there and treat it all equally. Why? Why can't you treat this as equally and review it as good as you would any other promotion, Dave? Same for you, Brian. Just because it started off slow, then it went fast again. That's every New Japan match. Any New Japan match that's worth a damn does that. Any AEW match that's worth a damn does that. That's how wrestling is. You kind of do a feeling out process. We're gonna take you for a ride. If you just come out guns a-blazing, hit your shit, and go home without telling any kind of story, like AEW does, then it doesn't make sense. Nobody wants to see it. Also, have you ever figured that, okay, in the commercials and between matches, people are up, getting themselves food, getting themselves something to drink, using the bathroom. By the time they come back in, they're getting settled back into their seats. And the feeling out process gives them that time for everybody to get back in their seats and get back adjusted and get their attention span, get their thinking caps on. No. Alvarez just wants boom, 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 boom. Because the show's too long for him. And granted, they do complain when AEW goes long too. But this started at 7. It was over with by about 10. They did treat it like it was a PLE, not as many commercial breaks because they were not on network television. They were on Peacock. They didn't have to take as many. We didn't have the ring cluttered up with fucking sponsors this time. Just had the Saturday Night's Main Event logo in the middle. It was good. Nothing on the turnbuckle pads, so they couldn't complain about that, which that bugs me too. I'm going to have another video later on about people freaking out about, the sponsorship everywhere. So what? So what? You don't complain about your sports teams, the Yankees and everybody else and the Dodgers who just won the World Series last night. There's sponsorship everywhere. Look at the football. Look at NFL. There's sponsorship everywhere on the NFL. Anyway. Now we're going to go to what they said about the post-show and how there was no angles. Listen to this.
Yeah. So, and no tease of anything, Yeah,
it was weird because on this entire show, there wasn't a single angle. There was no angle after any matches. There was no angle before any matches. No post-match main event angle. There was just no angles.
So again, not everything has to be like New Japan. Not everything has to be like AEW. The whole key is, okay, that was a good show. It left me wondering what's going to happen next. They even made the comment at the end of the Punk match, this is Punk's time. There's no Seth Rollins. There's no Drew McIntyre. There's nobody to come out and ruin this for him. Now you got to tune in Monday with that comment. It kind of leaves a light bulb going off in the back of your head going, I wonder who's going to come out and ruin it for him on Monday. I wonder what's next for Punk now. Now that he has this title, can he sustain it? He doesn't have the excuse anymore of, they took it from me in 2 minutes. They robbed me of my glory. He's got it. Can he still hang? Can the 40-something-year-old Punk still hang? Who's going to be his next challenger? They left it with the intrigue of Cody. with Cody did kind of cheat to win by DDTing Drew on the belt. What does Cody have to say? What is Drew going to have to say? What is next for Cody? Is Cody going to defend his title? What about the John Cena tournament? Who's going to be in the tournament? Are they going to start announcing people for that tournament? It starts a week from Monday in Boston. There's a lot of threads coming out of this pay-per-view. There's a lot of what-if scenarios coming out of this Saturday night's main event that has me wondering what's going on. But no, if we don't give it to you straight away, and if we don't have a post-match angle with fish tanks and people getting lit on fire and people getting stuffed in a body bag and getting dragged through the parking lot, oh, the world is ending. Oh, they didn't tease us with anything, Brian. The world is ending. Dave, this was just a plain, boring ending. Nothing, no teases, no angles. We just gave you straight wrestling matches that told stories, and we gave you a John Cena video package that told a story and left you wondering what's going to happen next. I'm intrigued as to where they go from here. And for the past couple months, I will say since SummerSlam, WWE has not left me wondering what's going to happen next. Now I am. I'm excited to want to see who's going to be in this tournament. I'm excited to see what they're setting up for Survivor Series for the War Games match. I'm excited to see what Punk has to come out and say about this. I'm excited to see what Jey Uso's response is. I'm excited to see Jade Cargill go in and just run ruckshot all over the women's division. But no, unless we have 50 fucking angles happening all at once at the end of the show, it's boring. It's just there. Let me know what you guys thought about all this. Once again, two men, one in their mid 40s, the other one in his 70s, are just completely losing the plot. And Brian was a little bit more tame this time. I swear to God. He's got a Dave Meltzer death clock hanging up in his damn office, I bet. Alvarez does. Because I still hold the contention that this man is just waiting for Dave to die so he could either dismantle it and retire himself or take it over and turn it into something totally different. Let me know what you guys thought about this in the comments below. We'll see you down the road.